I can immediately tell from the envelope that it's not about official matters of any sort. Someone actually wrote an old-fashioned, handwritten paper letter. And honestly, guys, think about it. When is the last time you actually got a letter? And I don't mean like a bill or like a newspaper letter. I mean someone actually took the time to write a letter. To be honest, I haven't written a letter in, gosh, it must be 11, 12 years. I haven't written an actual letter. I mean, I've replied to like bills and magazines and stuff, but an actual letter to someone else that intentionally I haven't received or written someone. Of course, why would I do that? I have email and phone, so why would you do that? But it feels kind of good when you do it, but it's also kind of a waste of money. Whatever. Who bothers doing something like that in this day and age? And anyway, yeah, exactly. Yet, as unlikely as the prospect of receiving one sounds, there's definitely a letter lying on my desk. Or maybe they just fucked with you and just gave you an envelope and there's no letter. And inside the envelope, if you tear it open, it says "fuck you." No one cares enough to send you a letter. Even though that'd be a message. That'd be fucked up. The classes for the day are over. Still feeling pretty full from the big lunch that I had unexpectedly eaten at the cafeteria. I returned to my dorm, planning on finishing my homework and probably skipping dinner, or at least just eating light. I feel like I need to eat less than I used to. Maybe I don't use that much energy now that I don't do much beyond reading. However, the letter on my desk has naturally caught my interest. It's the first piece of mail I've received here at Yamako, so it feels special even if it wasn't something as rare as a handwritten letter. What causes me even more trepidation is the name of the sender, written neatly on the back of the envelope. Aranako. I have no idea why she would write to me. I haven't been in contact with anyone from my old school since I transferred, and Aranako is the last person I expect to want to write me a letter. The last time I saw Aranako was terribly awkward, embarrassing so. She came to my hospital, peeled me an apple out of courtesy, and then we practically sat in silence for half an hour. She said goodbye and didn't look at me in the eyes when she closed the door. It might have been a bit natural end to the series of visits that were probably pretty painful for both of us. Every time she visited me in the hospital, I wanted to talk to her, but something stopped me every time. I'm a wimp. Every time I didn't speak made the next time even harder. Aranako always had this aura of fragility, like a lamp around her, as if she shattered into pieces at the slightest disturbance. Initially, I thought it might have been that delicacy that attracted me to her, but after what happened back then, it felt as if she really had shattered. She looked so sad that I didn't really want to say anything that might have upset her, and I never could figure out the right words to say, and I just realized I'm really, really freaking hungry. I told her that it wasn't her fault, and she nodded. Oh, okay, my stomach's growling. Yep, after this part or scene, or not this letter scene, after the scene, I'm gonna make me a sandwich and go back to reading. And I really think she understood that. If it hadn't been that, or sooner or later something would have made my heart give out. Yet she looked so hopelessly sad every time she opened that door and entered my room. So I never managed to say the things I wanted to say. Say what you need to say. In the end, that might have hurt her even more. Carefully, I opened the envelope and drew out the folded letter from within. Dear Hasao, how are you? Hope you're well and happy at your new school. Everyone here misses you. Almost all of the second year class got put together in the class 3-1 for the final year, so we're pretty comfortable right from the beginning of the year. I'm sure you would have been assigned to this class as well. The mood among the third years seems to be very anxious about the final exams, even though they are so far away. The teachers are badgering about it all the time. Even old Mr. Tachibana, who is, by the way, our homeroom teacher this year. Would you believe it? I was sure that he'd retire after our second year, but here he is nagging everyone about studying for exams. And here's the thing, I think things like this are the main reason why the mood among the third years is so nervous. I must admit that I'm somehow losing confidence in myself as well, even though I'm always fared reasonably well in exams. It's so weird to think that we've already seen these, isn't it? Time has already flown past. I wonder where it went. The new first year seems so young and somehow really innocent. I keep wondering if it was like them in my first year. I've been feeling nostalgic like this for my whole first trimester. There are other things I want to say I'm writing to you because I felt there are things I should have said after the incident back in winter. I really regret that I wasn't able to say them in person, and I have no excuse for it. She would all this in that one little letter? Or the multiple pages? I only see one page. This is like a lot of shit. The truth is, the times when I visited you at the hospital made me worried about you. When I'm talking about your health, you seem to become more distant and disheartened. I had a heart attack almost, damn it! If I want to feel distant and disheartened and feel like death, let me feel like death, damn it! It was natural after something like that happened, I'm sure, but somehow I got the feeling that you had to give it up on something back then. Happiness, maybe? Man, I was in the hospital for months! Shit, I was like, you in the hospital, just having, man, all these tubes fucking you in your arm? I wanted to somehow express my feelings, but the right words didn't come to me. I couldn't say anything to comfort you. I'm really sorry for not being able to support you when it mattered the most, even though I like you so much. At least now, finally, I can be more honest. If you could go back to the quiet days in February and March, I'd tell you not to give up on yourself. That's what I would say. Maybe you wouldn't have drifted so far away if I just said something. Hope you managed to get back on your own feet on your own. Now that the distance between us is also physical, it always feels more final somehow. I wonder if we will meet again. Perhaps it's for the best if we don't. Still, if you would like to correspond with me, by all means write me back. I'd very much like to hear about your new school and how you're doing. I wish you all the best. Sincerely, Awanako. After finishing reading the letter, I folded it like it was and placed it on my desk. I don't know what to think of this. I feel empty and confused. Why now, after all this time? Just yesterday, I decided that I can't let myself stay like this, that I try to get on top of my own life. Reading this letter just reminds me of what could have been. Of course, I wish I didn't have to be here. I want to be in the same class with Awanako again. Maybe we would talk every day, every now and again, and go on dates. My life didn't go like that, though. I didn't really need to be reminded of this. Awanako needed to write that letter for her own sake. I'm glad for her that she could, but it would have been better if I hadn't read it. Of course, she is right. I thought of the same thing yesterday. I had fallen into a pit of depression, and now I had to try to climb out. I brought out a page from my notebook. After a moment of thinking how to frame my words, write a short reply to Awanako. I found it difficult to be really honest to her, but at least I tried to appear somewhat convincing. I don't write her about Yamako at all, though. I doubt she'll write me again, but I don't feel sad about it. I fold my own letter to her, as I have no envelope, I set it next to Awanako's. I'll mail it to her later. When I lie on my bed, looking at the monotone gray ceiling. A bird sings outside the window, and suddenly a gust of wind flutters my curtains. The summer afternoon feels still, as if time had stopped for a brief moment. I think about all the things I've lost and will never regain. Okay, I didn't count that as a scene. I mean, it is a scene, but I'm not gonna count it as one because I could do more. First, the languid days of mid-June passed by. I mailed my letter to Wanako and received no reply. Is that supposed to rhyme? Having decided that this owed me, I started observing my fellow students even closer than I did before, hoping to understand how other people cope with their own issues. I started seeing things I didn't before, and it makes me wonder if I've been wrong twice. Superficially, everyone is abnormal, yet so strikingly normal that it shocked me at first. I admired the way my new schoolmates turned my prejudices around just like that, simply by being themselves. Now that I gotten used to it, I began noticing other kinds of tones in the people surrounding me every day. There's this soft, numb sadness all around me. I can see the efforts everyone has to make just to get through the day and how it weighs on their shoulders like it weighs on mine. Even the brightest smile is slightly subdued. Every outburst of annoyance just slightly dampened. It's subtle, but it's definitely there. I try to think what it means, what I can learn from others. I wonder if deep down everyone is lost as me. Is there even one person here who has truly found peace? I start to feel doubtful about myself once again. I can't decide whether these people are happy, unhappy, or if they just learned to cope and now live in this unfeeling limbo like I did all spring. I can escape from these feelings into the towering power of books I carried to my room from Yuko's sanctuary. After realizing that this would shut me down even more, I start going to the art club more often, usually whenever I can. Rin too seems to spend more time in her own classroom. I often seen her toddle towards the door at the very end of a corridor. That wooden door and the woman behind it, smelling of paint and paper, seemed to mean more to her than the rest of the ward combined. She says she has special permission to use the room, which I don't doubt at all. I don't think Shin would deny Rin anything. He seems to dot on her like an uncle upon a favorite niece. The object of his affection, however, has no favors. She says she appreciates the teacher a lot for going the extra mile for her sake, but even when she says that, her expression is the same as always. It's as if she was talking about a particular unremarkable rock that she saw the other day. I can't really figure out their relationship. Rin doesn't seem to let anyone close. I don't even think Emi could have said she crossed that gap that seems to separate Rin from the rest of the world. I don't understand it. She seems so indifferent, yet so passionate at the same time. Somewhere the school bell rings, the last call today. I realize I've been zoning out for who knows how long. Days I sit up straighter, trying to look as inconspicuous as possible. The pungent smells of linseed oil and turpentine mix in the nostrils as I draw a deep breath. I feel drowsy and lightheaded. It's already this late and a few club members left early, so it's just me, Rin, the teacher, and two other girls who are about to leave. Rin is sitting to my right, slowly working on a painting while I'm idling the time away. I don't think she realizes I've been watching her this whole time. With a nimble move of her delicate ankle, she dips the brush into crimson paint and presses it lightly onto the canvas. A stain spreads around as if the brush was bleeding. Her progress has slowed down to a crawl, but now I've learned that this is dangerous for her technique, as the paint must not be allowed to dry before she's finished. It occurs to me that I'm literally watching paint dry, and yet somehow I'm not feeling bored, despite spacing out just now. Most of the time, the art club is very relaxed and free form. Apart from time when Shin gets really excited about some technique or style he wants to teach us, everyone is free to pursue their own interest. Liking one, I keep fooling around out of direction. I try this and that, but nothing really leaves me with a deep impression, not to mention that I don't really seem to have a special knack for anything. Well, I did get praised for my attempt at watercolors, and I felt pretty good about that myself, but that's it. I suppose it's to be expected. I joined the art club mostly on a whim, after all. I'm thinking that maybe I should quit the club if it's going to be this pointless, but there's nothing really wrong with pointlessness, and I can't exactly say I'm unhappy. Unsatisfied maybe, but I've only got myself to blame for that. As the pair of girls exit the club room with a cheery bye-bye, Shin stands up from his desk. His chair scoots back with a loud screech that breaks the harmony of this quiet afternoon. He taps a pile of paper in his hands twice against the tabletop in order to straighten them, then stretches his back. I have a faculty meeting to attend, so I can't stay. I have to do some paperwork later, so if you want to stay, we can talk then. Sorry about this. There are two people here, but he's really only talking to one of us. Shin spends extra hours of his time mentoring Rin after official club hours are over, and I'll bet he'd like to discuss his plan of getting Rin's art into a gallery a bit more. It's alright. I think I'll probably be here, but it's not a big deal if I'm not. I don't really have much going on now. Really answers without moving her eyes from her work in progress. The tone of her voice is neither the polite kind expected when talking to a teacher nor her usual monotone. So I won't need to send out a search party if you aren't here. Yes, no thanks. I don't like the party. We can talk later. Good girl. Smiling, the teacher picks up the rest of his papers and makes his way to the door. I glance at the clock above it and then at my watch to double check. They're 3 minutes apart, but nevertheless the club meeting's time is over now. Rin seems intent on staying here to work on a piece while waiting for the teacher. I can't quite imagine what this one-on-one time would be like. Would they actually discuss anything? Rin is always so subdued in what she says, and what she does says something is difficult to understand what she's talking about. Maybe Shin just talks endlessly like he does at meetings, letting Rin absorb what she will from his infinite well of art knowledge. Like a sunflower turning to face the glowing sun. Do you mind if I stay? Maybe I thought I'd give watercolors another try. I blurt out my excuse, sort of accidentally embarrassing myself, but it doesn't take her eyes off her painting. Okay. I shift around in my chair and get to fetch a cup of water, brushes, colors, and some paper. The sound of my footsteps invades the still afternoon air. Before starting, I try to recall what the teacher told us, an important philosophy of the medium. Working with watercolors means more working with water than working with color. I try to keep that in mind and dip in my tiny sable brush into the water cup. I'm mixing yellow and blue, trying to capture the sunlit treetops outside the window. The sun is low, so the yellow are most pronounced and everything looks darker. I still can't quite connect what I see with what my hand does with the paints, but it's a passable attempt for my level. I have the same problem, dude. Don't feel shy. I see something beautiful and it ends up like shit on the paper, man. Just when I try to sing something in my head out loud, it's like Sanjaya from American Idol singing. After a while, I start losing my focus and move the paper aside, deciding to watch Rin work for a while instead. That little while stretches first into a long while, then to a really long while. Rin paints, her entire body being fully concentrated on the brush between her slender toes and the paint coming to life with one stroke at a time. She seems determined, and yet at the same time relaxed, effortlessly moving the brush around, never hesitating. Colors meet and part, mix and cover each other on the canvas, bending to a quiet will. I don't know anything about composition, structure, or any of that stuff, but I really like Rin's paintings. I like how she looks when she paints. As usual, the silence between us compels me to speak rather than merely wait for her to open up. She might end up saying nothing at all. Do you mind if we talk? I don't mind. I kinda wanted to ask more about why you get so weird about this thing. The teacher wants to arrange for you. Rin picks up the tube of paint and squeezes it between her toes on a palette, almost as easily as someone with opposable thumbs would. Taking up a brush again, she replies, "A lot of things, and some not things, unthings. I don't think that's a word. Do you want to talk about it?" I try to reach out to her, clumsily ignoring the embracing feeling of awkwardness. Rin keeps her focus on the painting, spreading more and more paint on the canvas, her lips forming a perfectly straight line as she concentrates on the job. Not really. Talking is hard. I mean, it's not hard. I'm talking even now, but saying the right things is really hard for me. No matter what, I just can't say the things I want. That sounds weird. No, it doesn't. It's true. I say all things that I don't really mean all the time. And sometimes I forget words, and then I use the wrong words. I even come up with new words for things that I already have some. That's the worst thing. I get really nervous, and everything comes out a mess. And even I don't really understand what I want to say. I think there's something wrong with me that makes it like this. Remember when I said I can only think of 4 things at the same time? I nodded wordlessly. It's not really 4. I mean, it is 4, but everything else is also there, kind of in the background. Like being at the amusement park and in a beehive at the same time. But that's not the point. I used to do better, like 6 or 7 things. I think so, at least. I feel like I'm becoming dumber. I think everyone has times where they think like they can say... I think everyone has times when they feel like they can't say the right things. But it's there all the time. Stronger and deeper. Yeah, deeper is a good word. I like that word. Deeper. It's that feeling of being in the water. Maybe it's just art. The more I paint, the more words I forget. Maybe at some point I will forget how to speak completely. It feels like I'm slowly forgetting everything. Do you remember what you thought about things 3 or 4 years ago? I don't. No, neither do I. I can remember one thing, maybe like a year ago. But 3 or 4 years ago? Shit. A long pause ensues, during which time seems to bend around itself, almost tying itself into a knot. I don't think I've ever heard Ren talk this earnestly and for so long about anything before. It's like I'm fading away from the world. Ren's foot has stopped its work on the canvas, and she's staring at her painting, unmoving, as if gazing at some faraway horizon. Sunlight briefly glints in the corner of her onyx eyes. Something floats up into the top layer of Ren being, and she lets out a long breath. Then she blinks and it's gone. Paintings stay behind. When I look at my old things, I remember what I was thinking back when I made them. They made me feel like I can be with all my past me's when I was different me. I guess they are the proof of my existence. She uses the exact words Shin used when he spoke to us the nature of art. I didn't think Ren was paying any attention back then. I wonder if she was listening or whether she has heard the same passionate speech from Shin before. Either way, I feel overwhelmed. Boy, are you complicated. I would have taken up writing a diary. Her eyes quickly flicked to my direction and then back to the painting, but she doesn't pick up a brush anymore. That's a great idea. Why didn't I ever think of that? Are you being sarcastic? What's sarcasm? I don't call her on the joke if it is one. Right at that moment, Shin returns from the meeting. He waves to us in a very melodramatic, "Hello!" mildly surprised to see me here along with his pet student. Walking with a boisterous gait to his desk, he drops his papers upon it. He picks up a handkerchief and cleans his glasses with incredible meticulous care before walking over to us. Before he's within earshot of us, Ren says something to me in a quick, quiet voice. Change is the scariest thing in the world to me. And I seriously don't know if I want to change into a person who could do the thing the teacher wants me to do. I don't know if I could, even if I wanted to. Hello again. Hello. Hello. What's going on? He smiles a bit sheepishly, looking at both of us with uninhibited interest. Nothing. We're just talking about that thing with your acquaintance in the gallery for Ren's work, sort of. Oh-ho! Any decisions? I look at Ren, who's trying to arrange the bothered expression onto her face into something else. Anyway, I don't think I have much else to say other than you should go for it. I'm not going with exciting because it could be exciting, but she doesn't want. She's not going for exciting. She's nervous. I'm gonna go with this again because I think you'd be a big hit. She doesn't care about being a big hit. She cares about like if she could do it, and she's scared about changing. So yeah, I'm gonna go with yeah. This isn't like you. You told me that people should do things that they can't just because they can. And now you're being all wishy-washy yourself about something this important. I don't think I want to talk about this. I'm going. Rin stands up and trots out the room without anyone saying anything more. I'm sorry, I think I made her upset. Ha ha ha! Don't worry about it. She'll be fine. I'm sure I'll talk to her later. Shin looks at me over his circular pink glasses, smiling sympathetically. You made friends with her then, Nakai. Well, something like that, I guess. Depends on how you look at it, to be honest. I'm not really sure. It's more like me and Rin just tend to hang out around each other irregularly, talking or not about something that more often resembles some twisted mockery of philosophy rather than normal everyday things that friends chat about. Well, that's all good, isn't it? You're a new student and we should all be promoting integration into the student body and such. I can't remember all the buzzwords they spew at faculty and Yamako Foundation meetings, but that's how it is. Tazaki isn't the most social person around these parts either. Yeah, that's definitely true. So, she's talking about my suggestion to you. Oh, not really. I think it's more about me pressing her to decide something. Maybe I shouldn't have. No, I'm sure it's fine. I'm too soft with her, even when I shouldn't. I don't really know how to handle Tozaki. She's so independent and willful. I wonder if this is what every old geezer of an art teacher who's got his hands on a young and fiery prodigy felt like. Why was his tongue hanging out? It's kind of nasty. He chuckles ironically to himself a little bit, turning to face Rin's latest work, which she left dry on the easel. She departed so abruptly that I wonder if she considers it finally finished. So let's see the painting then. He leans in closer, peering at the canvas. It draws you in, doesn't it? Shin stands back straight, his face a dreamy, nostalgic visage. I don't answer him, as he seems to be taking my agreement as a given. I sometimes stay here for hours, just to look at Tazaki's paintings. She's really just prodigious, and at such a young age. I get shivers just thinking what she can become with a few more years of refinement. You asked me what makes an artist, remember? This is it. They take a piece of the world and reshape it in their own image. Metaphorically, of course. Looking at her makes you wonder what the world looks like through her eyes. It's a wonderful thing to be young and full of passion. The most extraordinary time of your life. You do well to remember that, Nakai. Yes, sir. It's so silly. People always ask artists, why do you get your ideas? As if ideas were something sold at the market for pocket change. You can't explain inspiration. For people like Tazaki, it's like breathing. It's an instinct. I met maybe one or two with the same kind of raw potential, but no amount of potential will amount to anything if one doesn't work to realize it. It's practice, technique, skill. Draw for an hour every day for a few years, and even the most hopeless case can become a passable artist. That's not true. I still can't draw for shit. Tozaki is not brilliant because she was born with a natural talent for this kind of thing. She's brilliant because she works harder than anyone, ever since she learned to hold a pen most likely. And all of it with her feet, no less. Absolutely phenomenal. Silence finally lands in the club as Shin lets himself get drawn back into Rin's painting, gently murmuring acceptance toward the still wet canvas. What kind of things do you paint yourself? As I waken from a reverie, he looks at me, surprised at my talking to him. Oh, I don't. Not anymore. I became an art teacher only after my career in that field came to an end. Now I just pass on knowledge to the next generation. The way Shin answers is curious, both giving and withholding information. I feel like asking more, but he cuts in before I get the chance. Now, you should run along, my boy. It's almost dinner time, isn't it? Yes, sir. Have a good evening. You too. I quickly collect my stuff and step out into the deserted hallway, leaving the teacher alone with his musings. The weekend will be here soon. It's amazing how fast time flies here. I promised Amy I'd join her for the celebration of her triumph at the track meet last week. That should be pretty fun. Okay, well, that was a good session. Yep, I'm gonna save it here. Umbrella Logic Cake. Hope you guys are enjoying it so far. This makes part... You know what, I'm not even gonna split the parts. I mean, I'm not gonna add them in Sony Vegas. I'm just gonna upload those 3 separate parts all in the same day because it's one session. And I'll you know what? I'm gonna label them part 21-2, 21- whatever the I think the 21. Yeah, 21-1, 21-2, 21-3, and then I'll put part 22 as the next one. Yeah, if I remember to do that. Anyway, back to the main menu real quick. Hope you guys are enjoying the playthrough so far. I know this is not the best game, and I know it's really a text-based game, so I have to talk all the time. And when I do my playthroughs, I said this before, I usually just fill in when, like, I say whatever comes to my head, or I say what I react with my voice. Like, you know, if I get shot, I say something like, "Oh, I died." You know, it's just natural reactions. It feels more natural when I just play a game. I just, you know, compliment the game. This game, I pretty much have to talk I have to say everything I see, which is pretty much every 5 seconds I'm speaking some line, which is weird because it's not really coming from me, it's coming to the game, and I'm trying to give impressions or voiceovers, and I'm not the best at doing that, but I do really enjoy this game. And I'm still saying you guys should really touch it if you haven't played it just yet. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please like, comment, and subscribe. I don't say that often, but I'm saying it a little bit more often now because I kind of do want more comments. It's mainly the comments, but anyway. Bye bye.